To begin our information speech, we're going to be talking about the negative effects that social media has on teens. My name's Taylor.
I'm Lily.
I'm Olivia.
And I'm Samuel.
I'm Isaac.
So to begin, we're going to start with the negative effects of social media. The first one being cyberbullying, the second one being self-esteem, and the last one being how a cell phone addiction is bad for teens. The first and most commonly talked about issue with social media is cyberbullying. According to the CDC, a study shows that students who frequently use social media are more likely to experience bullying online and in person compared to less frequent social media users.
Here we got cyberbullying in teens. According to the CDC, female students who reported frequent social media use were more likely to experience bullying at school and electronically. Male students who frequently use social media were more likely to experience bullying electronically as well. Some more information from the CDC says that victims of in-person bullying are more likely to experience electronic bullying, victimization, and engage in bullying perpetration. Following the issues of cyberbullying, there are also reports of poor self-esteem in teens. Furthermore, teens can often experience body dissatisfaction due to excessive usage of social media, and reducing it can help with said dissatisfaction. This is partly because many of the pictures on social media you see online are all celebrities and fashion models, and from the American Psychological Association, they say social media can expose users to hundreds or even thousands of images and photos every day, including those of celebrities and fashion or fitness models, which we know lead to an internationalization of beauty ideals that are unattainable for almost everyone, resulting in greater dissatisfaction with body weight and shape. Teens and young adults who reduced their social media use by 50% for just a few weeks saw a significant improvement in how they felt about both their weight and their overall appearance.
The next one we have is self-esteem. In teens, there are negative correlations whenever it comes to social media and self-esteem. According to the National Institute of Health, a quote from them is, "Our results reveal that there is a negative correlation between self-esteem and social media addiction levels in adolescents. Body image has a partial mediating role in the relationship between social media addiction and self-esteem levels." Another study also determined that social media correlates to poor self-esteem according to the National Institutes of Health. And another quote from them is, "In a study conducted by Woods and Scott with 467 adolescents, it was found that the adolescents with high levels of social media use had low self-esteem." Okay. And then the last issue from social media in teens is being addicted to their cell phones. According to the Columbia University Department of Psychiatry, it states, "Moreover, studies have shown a correlation between heavy social media use and depression, anxiety, loneliness, and suicidal ideation. The platforms are designed to be addictive, using algorithms that feed users content based on their preferences and interactions, keeping them engaged for a longer period." This direct quote shows how easy it is for teens to be addicted to social media, and then it can cause more mental health problems.
The use of smartphone causes teens to feel so dependent on their phone that leads to them to feel a sense of urgency for their phone. According to the Columbia University Department of Psychiatry, it states, "Smartphones have transformed the way we communicate, learn, and entertain ourselves. However, their omnipresence can lead to compulsive use and a sense of dependency. A constant stream of notifications and updates can create a sense of urgency and fear of missing out." Teenagers may experience fear of missing out, are more likely to have smartphone addiction. According to the National Institutes of Health, people with high levels of fear of missing out are more likely to use social media, which makes them more likely to develop mobile phone addiction.
To conclude, these three issues from social media use affect teens in negative ways. The first one being cyberbullying that contributes to teens' poor mental health. The second issue being self-esteem, affecting the ways teens feel about themselves. The final issue being addiction to cell phones and teens contributing to mental health problems. Here's our video.
For many of us, checking Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, other social media is all part of our normal routine, right? And keeping tabs on friends and family across the world can help to make you feel more connected. But there's a negative side to that unchecked screen time, which can lead to poor sleep, memory issues, and poor overall mental health. Joining me now with more is Vaibhav Devarkar, professor of psychiatry and behavioral neurosciences at Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan. Professor, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. So why is social media so addictive, and why do we feel that burst of happiness when someone likes one of our posts?
Thank you, Ed, for having me. Well, I think one of the problems with social media and the incessant novelty that it generates is it keeps the brain in what is called constant exploratory mode. And so the brain is constantly now in a position where it's looking for novelty, but it's actually never settling on anything. And we always transition in our own lives between exploration and exploitation. We look for things, but then we settle on something and we use it. The problem with social media is it actually engages many of the same addiction mechanisms. It's not the same thing as substance use addictions, for example, but I think in the brain, it engages many of the addiction mechanisms which keep people glued to the constant act of looking for things, but never settling on anything.
That's so interesting the way you explain it. Is like I've thought about that before, but you really added some clarity to it. You're in this constant state of exploration. And one of the other issues here, social media just focuses so heavily on physical appearance and pushing users to add filters to their posts. How can these altered images affect our mental health, specifically in young people?
Well, I mean, you're seeing it in the community. You're seeing it with an increase in depression, with an increase in anxiety. I think the reward circuitry in adolescent brains is being rewired as we speak. These effects will not be known for some years. When people are constantly looking for gratification online, they always need their posts to be liked, to be responded to. I think we're entering an extremely dangerous age, and we're seeing some of the effects now. And I think a lot of the effects which we don't know and which I personally fear will not be known for some years still.
So social media, or let me ask you a question about parents specifically. I'm a parent, I have 2 young children, 2 girls in middle school. So this social media thing is a big discussion in our household. How can parents keep their children using social media in a safe way? And what are some ways to help wean kids off their devices, especially as they get ready to go back to school?
Well, the first thing that I always think about is, parents have to set an example themselves. I think the way kids very much emulate what parents do, and I think the kinds of behaviors, the patterns of behaviors that parents engage in are likely to be emulated by kids. And so if you find a way to stay off your own social media, there's a higher chance that kids will do as well. I think there are now more and more resources that you can use to talk to your kids about the dangers of social media. There are some excellent documentaries out there. There's an excellent one on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. There are more and more academic papers, I think, that are conclusively demonstrating what the short-term impacts of social media are. I would suggest that parents acquaint themselves with many of these resources, understand what these results are telling us, and find a way to communicate this to your kids.
Professor Devarkar, thank you so much for your insights this morning. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. I'm Lily.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Isaac.
I'm Olivia.
And I'm Samuel.
Thank you.